Hello everyone, welcome back to Dark Knight Tales. Before we dive in, please show your support, give this video a like and be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss future videos. So let's get started. The first story. I'm still in shock. I want to start by saying that I've never done drugs, have no history of mental illness, and I wasn't drinking at around 7:30 a.m. when this happened, nor had I the night before. I take the bus in the morning, and I wait at a pretty large outdoor terminal. Lots of people walk their dogs and walk around it in the morning by where I normally stand. 2 days ago, I saw a tall guy walking a dog that was a golden retriever type. That's not unusual. He was wearing a gray sweater and khakis and was tan in complexion. I looked away for a second, and it was like he and the dog had both paused. Weird, I thought, until the exact same man, just with a yellow lab instead, came walking down the hill. The two of their profiles lined up in front of my eyes about 7 feet in front of me, and they became the same person, with the lab being the dog that won out. I wouldn't have believed this happened and would have chalked it up to me being tired or something if the girl sitting there with me hadn't exchanged shocked glances with me. I also saw him with the lab today. It's really trippy. The second story. A bizarre taxi ride. We were in Belfast, Northern Ireland, and it was around 4:30 a.m. A group of friends and I had just left a party, and while they were all very much not sober, I am straight edge and can recall this clearly. We tried calling for a taxi, however there was an awkward number of us so we couldn't get one to carry all of us, so we decided to tramp home. It was about a 35-minute walk, so not that far, however it had been a big session and we were all pretty done. Just moaned about not having a ride when a random old-fashioned black taxi, think London cab, pulled up alongside us. These taxis can usually hold 5 or 6 passengers max in the back section, but this can add 9 seats, one for each of us. The door opened by itself and everyone climbed in, and without anyone saying a word it proceeded to drive us to our destination. I didn't think anything of it at the time, but we all spent the whole ride in silence. The cab smelled so bad that I didn't even want to breathe, and the interior was old and very dirty, with the floor even having a few small holes. Looking into the driver's cab, the driver was a very old man, looked to be 70 years old maybe, wearing an old tattered suit with an old newsboy cap on his head. But weirder still, a man in his late 20s was sat in his passenger seat wearing ripped and dirty sweatpants and a dirty jumper with stains all over it. Neither of these guys spoke the entire trip to each other or to any of us. It was just silence the whole way, not even the radio was on. When we arrived at our destination, I herded my intoxicated group of friends out of the taxi, but when I turned to pay the fare the taxi was gone and the road was completely clear in both directions. We all got into my friend's house and nobody spoke a word of what happened until the next day when the most wasted of the group told us about the trip that he had the night before. I'm not sure this qualifies as a glitch or if it would be considered to be more paranormal. All I know is we were a group of Catholics in a Protestant part of town, and getting into a random car like that was the dumbest SHD I have ever done. But somehow, even though it stank and was clearly wrong in every way, it felt like it was exactly what I should have done at the time. The third story. A giant spear/needle passed in front of the moon. This happened last night. I'm still massively creeped out by it. My fiancé and I were in my car, driving to grab some dinner. I was behind the wheel. We crested a hill outside our apartment complex which revealed a beautiful, near full moon. It had snowed the day prior, but the roads and sky were clear. We both commented on how cool the moon looked. Not a moment later this absolutely massive, thin, sharp-looking object flew between the moon and us. It was way too sharply outlined and opaque to be a cloud, and moved with direction. I mean, it was so massive my first thought was that it was some kind of object in space. It almost looked like the moon was getting split in half. I was sure that we were witnessing a disaster on a cosmic scale. I slowed my car down and we simply watched this monumentally large, needle-shaped object cross in front of the moon. Most definitely in space or extremely high up in the atmosphere, then disappear into the blackness of the night sky. We were both genuinely freaked out, and have been discussing it intermittently for the last 24 hours. Anyone seen anything similar? I just can't get the image of a moon-sized needle silently flying through space out of my head. The fourth story. Footsteps and missing items. Recently, we bought a home that was built a few years ago, and it's 2 stories. We're the second occupants. The original owners divorced and sold it to us. At least, that's what we were told. Nearly every day, when I'm in the office, I can hear loud, and I mean loud, footsteps on the second floor. My son's room is directly above my office, and that is generally where we hear these footsteps, though, randomly, we hear footsteps upstairs in other sections, like when we're in the kitchen or living room. Every time, it freaks me and my wife out, and I run upstairs to see what's going on. But there is never anyone upstairs. I've even explored all of our attic spaces multiple times just to see if we had a squatter. There's no evidence anyone is secretly living in the attic. I've checked more times than I care to admit. I thought it was our son when he was taking naps, like maybe running around. However, he's a young toddler, still in a bed he cannot get out of. I've tested him in it multiple times. He sleeps with a full sleep cover, so if he could get out of the bed, it's completely covered. And anytime he's up there, I run up to catch him, but he's always still asleep. We have old school baby monitors, and they too pick up the footsteps. Now, if this were not crazy enough, since we've moved in, multiple items have come up missing or moved. For example, we finished up a wine bottle one night, and when we woke up in the morning, it was gone. And, when I say gone, I mean, we checked every inch inside, outside, and in all trash containers. It was gone. Randomly, items will come up missing, and show up in places we would never put them. Some of this is likely attributable to our toddler, but most of the time, items disappear and reappear in places he physically could not reach. We're at a loss. Maybe we're haunted, or maybe we live at a nexus point. Either way, we're looking to sell soon because living in the Twilight Zone is annoying. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.